For the longest time, I've been using Biggie lights to light my YouTube videos, my client projects, and everything in between. And by Biggie lights, this is what I mean. Do you guys remember back on YouTube when the Aperture 120D first got announced? I remember seeing this in every YouTuber's setup and being so jealous because I couldn't afford it. And then this one, the Mark II, came out. Recently, a company has been releasing lights that are so much smaller, but also really powerful and unique designs. And that company is actually right here. It's Zhiyun. This video is totally off the cuff, by the way, and it is not sponsored in any way. So they have a new light coming out, and I've just been using it just to like shoot footage for fun. And I just have some thoughts on lighting in general and their new lights. So this is not affiliated with any brand. I just wanted to make a video with you guys, so that's what we're doing. This is how big this light is, and it's 120 watts. Look at Zhiyun's 200 watt light. Look how freaking tiny this thing is. And this is not the new light they're releasing, but look how small of a footprint this little guy is. I mean, for size comparison, this is my hand on it, and then this is my hand on this. It's so much bigger. Even the power supply down here is significantly larger. Interestingly, I've been using the Zhiyun lights for a little bit now, just kind of experimenting with them, and I'm gonna be shooting a project with them in the next couple months. After using them for a little bit, I've decided to sell like all of my big lights except for one of my apertures. I'm not saying this is a good decision or a decision you should make. I just don't need all this extra gear, but I have this like giant small rig 450D. It is an absolutely beautiful light. The color and light it produces is so gorgeous, and I never use it because it's freaking enormous. But let me show you a little alternative. I was gonna do like a big reveal of their new light because I know it's coming out when you're seeing this, but you've probably already seen like 100 videos on your feed. So is this the new one? Yes, this is the, I think it's called the Molus X60, and I've actually been using it for a little while. Look how freaking cool this thing is. There's a hand size comparison here. It's also got this nice little softbox on it with the grid. So what I want to do is take this thing outside at, let's see what time it is. I just got done with a breastfeeding class, so excuse me, it's a little late. It's 7:45 p.m. So we're gonna go outside and go get some cool shots with this Zhiyun light. But first, I just want to show you a couple things I've been using. So I have this 200 watt light that's been my main key light, and Zhiyun makes their own lanterns now. I absolutely love the lanterns because also I look kind of like Assassin's Creed right now. This is kind of dope. I like that you can take the skirt all the way up if you want, like this, and fill out like an entire area. You could hang this down and light multiple faces at once if you needed something like that. Or you could pull the skirt down and completely control the direction of the light via the Velcro that attaches to the front of the lantern here. Very neat. You can put these little soft boxes and attachments on here as well, which is cool. They have their own little ones. But probably my favorite feature of Zhiyun's small lights that they've been implementing are these battery packs right here. These guys are incredible. You push this button up here, you can see how much charge you have, and these are swappable. So there's a port on the battery, there's a port on the light. All you do is plug it and clicks into place, which is nice. And that thing is rock solid. And then you just hold down the power button to turn the light on and get controls. There's a quick release button right here to take it off. So I can set this light down here and then grab the new one, which already has a battery pack on it, but same thing. You can just pull this off like that, put the other battery pack on. Now, you might be thinking, why in the world would you sell your big lights and just switch to these little tiny guys? You're not gonna get that same soft feeling from something like this guy. This is holy crap, I gotta back this camera up. This is the what is this called? The RA D120 from Small Rig. Yes, this is ridiculous. It's so massive. Also, you don't have to get one this big. There are smaller softboxes out there that have the Bowen Mount, which is the pretty much universal lighting mount right here that plugs onto your light and snaps into place. So back to my question, why would you sell something like this? Well, I'm actually not selling a softbox, but why would you sell big lights that could power big softboxes like this? Well, first of all, like we said, need diaper money. Second of all, let me take this puny little 60 watt light. Hold on. Camera, come here. Thank you. Okay, so what I can do is, you see this little softbox here? It doesn't have the Bowen Mount, obviously. This thing is absolutely puny. And then this little guy comes off. Look at this absolutely adorable little mount here. And I should probably just show off this light, right? Let me pop this off. You can see it has a little fan in there that keeps it cool. The design is very unique, but not too weird or flashy. Power button up there. That's where the battery goes in. Has a little 1/4-20 thread down here. That takes USB-C, which does have power delivery, or obviously just plug it into wall power. And then here you have your brightness controls and your temperature control. But there's something cool. It's this guy right here, which is a little adapter that also has a like spigot mount down here, so you can put it on a light stand. But you can see this is the same mount as the light, this little cute mini one. But this, my friends, is a Bowen's mount. What I can do is plug in the light thing to the got it, adapter thing. So now we have this little light on a stick. Hello, everybody come to the front, you all have detention. And now we take this adorable little 60-watt light and connect it to this guy. But now you can see we have a massive light source here from a super tiny little 60-watt light. And I'm so incredibly excited about that. You can put it on a light stand. I have some C-stands up there as well, but they're clunky and not put together because they're so big. I have a hard time gravitating toward large gear lately. I think that's like the premise of this video, is that I have just been struggling lately to want to use large gear. I like small cameras, my Sony FX30. Tiny 60-watt light that has a really small softbox on it. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely insane. Now I have this giant softbox right off camera, and it's actually pretty bright. I'm also right next to it, but I can still get a really soft look for my Assassin's Creed wannabe pose. I think I just realized something cool. I could theoretically leave this softbox attachment on because the softbox is attached to the Bowen's mount adapter to the little light. So if there's a quick release, which I think is right here, now I can leave this giant setup on this stand and I could immediately take this and pop something else on it. Like, so then I could just pop this little tiny softbox on, click that down to expand it, and now we're good to shoot mini style. I'll be back in a little while, babe. I was just setting up my next shot. I dropped the light and it switched into RGB mode. I didn't know this light was RGB. Wait, what? I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's a brightness level here. This is hue, which controls your color, obviously. And then your saturation. I've literally been using this light for multiple weeks, like on a daily basis, and didn't know it switched to RGB mode. Trying to figure out a way to bounce this so it looks nice. But if I set it down, my car seat is pushing the button here and it changes it to RGB mode. So I'm gonna just be very gentle with it. I remember early on in my freelancing career, I was shooting a lot of low light stuff actually on my GH4 and GH5. And I had to be so careful with how hard I pushed that camera's ISO. And I owned like 0 lights for the longest time. It's crazy now how even just a few years after that, things are so much more accessible. We have cameras that have insane high ISO performance, which means that you can use less lighting or smaller lighting with less output. And lights like this make setting up shots with the small cameras so much quicker. And I've done a lot of different kinds of freelance work over the years, which is interesting. Like, I've worked on really big shoots that have a lot of crew members. It's so fun watching the grip people and the lighting people do their thing because they make things look so immaculate. It just takes a long time because the gear is so big and there's so many people, so many moving pieces. But I'm wondering if we're gonna get to a point where people will accept the smaller gear more. It seems like the quote unquote professional world and the YouTube kind of like creator space are slowly becoming closer and closer. But what's kind of cool is even if the legitimate professionals don't accept the small equipment right away or ever, we still have access to this stuff now, which is absolutely incredible. You can buy a light that is 60 watts, handheld, full RGB. You can use whatever attachments you want with it because it has adapters and get cool looking shots in just a few seconds. Is that game changing? I don't know. We've had small lights around before, but it's definitely not a gimmick. But we're still not at the point yet where these small lights are perfect. And this one in particular has already had some things that have bugged me a little bit that I wanted to point out for people who are actually considering possibly purchasing this thing. I guess the first one is I wish it came with an attachment that connected to a light stand a little bit better other than the Bowen Mount adapter, because I do like using the small diffusion attachments, but I have this thing kind of hard mounted to a light stand, so I can't articulate it and tilt it up and down. It's just kind of sitting there in a rock solid position. And probably the second biggest qualm I have with this light is the lack of app control. I did a little search on the Apple App Store and I couldn't find any Zhiyun apps that were specific to the lights. It looked like they just had a couple that were for gimbals, and I don't use Zhiyun's gimbals. I was kind of hoping for something similar to the Aperture system with their Sidus Link app. I think that's the other main issue is there's times where I just want to set this thing down, but it always clicks the buttons. Maybe if the buttons here weren't sticking out where the battery is, like maybe if this covered it so you could actually set it down without pressing buttons, that would be kind of nice. Also, it's kind of weird, but I wish it could get a little less bright. Even at 1%, this thing is like blasting me for whatever reason. This is, yeah, I mean, 1%. I would like this to be like an extremely soft little touch, so I could just like kind of mount this in a car or something and point it at the subject. I don't know, maybe they could make a diffuser that has a thicker, not grid, but a thicker diffusion material, like the soft material. That way it isn't so incredibly harsh even at 1%. But overall, I'm extremely excited about Zhiyun's small lights. Game changer is a strong word, and it's definitely overused in the creative filmmaking photography niche. I think maybe the last real like game-changing event in our space is probably going from DSLR to mirrorless. That is a complete industry disruption. Technology started to advance in a different way after that. All right, kids, this creepy van's been staring at me for a while. You guys want to see it? Oh, is he leaving? Hold on. Dude's been watching for a solid 10. He's definitely liked and subbed. I absolutely love what I do, and I love making videos for you guys, with you guys, getting to interact with you guys. It's so strange that this is even a job, but I've been working toward this thing for so long now. And to say it's my job now, I am never gonna take that for granted. And it's also crazy. Like, I feel like God has led me here and allowed me to have this, so I'm gonna try to be as faithful as I can and be as upfront with you guys about that as I can, because I don't wanna take this for granted. And truly, I never know how long it will last. We don't know how long anything will last. And you know, gear is fun, but community is way more fun. And I don't know, I just want to encourage you guys to pursue what you think is right with anything, but also like with your passion and your dreams, like don't give up. And even if the specific dream you have doesn't pan out because of circumstances out of your control, you never know like what God is leading you to with the next step. Like it could just be a stepping stone to something even greater. So this guy just blew a red light next to me, so I'm gonna drive safer, and love you guys so much. Text me when you get home so I know you're safe, and I'll see you soon.